just the sampling. I mean, there were dozens more that were equally interesting. And the thing is that every single project perfectly reflected Interact's priorities. So here you have these 25,000 kids in one city who are working on projects with a high percentage of them reflecting what Interact says is their priority, and they're not getting noticed or seen. So the other thing I just wanted to add in is not only could they be your future members, and their projects often fit your Interact stated priorities, but they also use very often they use technology to design their service projects, everything from mobile apps to software solutions, interactive data maps. One kid created an e-business platform and a lot of things like that. And I feel projects like that could also open up new service areas for Rotary. So here's, my question, that I presented to Kat a while ago, and I also presented to Steve. If there was an easy, low-cost way for these service-oriented students to know about Rotary, can't read my own thing here. And for other students to see what they've done and be inspired by what these students have created. And if there was also a searchable database of projects so kids could start to build on what other kids have done and learn from one another, my question is, would that be of interest? Is that something that would add something new to the way Rotary is thinking about interacting with kids? And so there's a lot of elements to it, and I'll just talk about two. So one has to do with building, a curated community service hub. And I have a lot of thoughts about how that could be built. There's a whole variety of sort of layers you can put into it. Keep it pretty simple, or you can put those layers in. And then the network of educators that I've become involved in Denver Boulder are really interested in creating opportunities outside of the classroom for kids to get involved with that are real life challenges. And so it's going under a number of different names, but one of those names is creating what they're calling learning hives. So those are the two key elements that we would see is sort of a searchable database that did a number of things, and then surrounding that database with real life activities. So, I've already said this, they could easily be your future members because they're already open to the value of service. I also think they represent the future of service, but on a deeper level, if these kids started to know about Rotary and the deep commitment and what this international community looks like, I think it would add, because a lot of these kids are doing projects and they don't understand how it connects with a bigger global vision that's happening, not just with Rotary, but a lot of people, and they don't have that connection. And so I think that these kids could offer, if they had a way to access Rotary, it would add a lot to Rotary, but Rotary could add a lot to them. So the big outcomes, I've already said this already, but the most important one is that, excuse me, if this is successful, it could become a model for other cities and model something that could be done that would open new horizons for a larger organization. So that's the heart of what I want to talk about. Let me get out of this. Okay. So that's the original idea that I got connected to eRotary about. That was something that interested me, and I don't know if this is in line with what anybody else is thinking, or if it seems interesting. I'd love to hear just some comments, feedback, whatever.
I'd like to start. I'm super into it. I think it's an awesome idea. The first thing that I started thinking of right at the end of your presentation is how other facets could even be built into that to expand on it even more. Like crowdfunding being such a popular thing these days, where there's so many crowdfunding websites out there. Maybe this is an opportunity for Rotary to have a specific engagement or involvement in a crowdfunding website built into some system like that.
Absolutely. I mean, crowdfunding, a lot of kids are already using crowdfunding, And then
Absolutely.
on a deeper level, there's a lot of movements in Denver, Boulder, and I just keep using that as an example, but I'm sure it's happening in Seattle, and I'm sure it's happening in Houston, and I'm sure it's happening in a number of cities, that there's, people starting to put money up for sort of entrepreneurial efforts by kids. So that's another piece that could start to be, the site could begin to administer these funds that people are already putting up.
Right. I like it. I think it's a great idea. It's pretty endless, it sounds like to me, the directions it could go.
Great.
I think it's a terrific idea. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
I just noticed that you talk about interact. Actually, those 6 principles are for Rotary entirely. Those are the 6 focus for Rotary, starting from last year and for the next 5-10 years. So it's beyond just interact.
Yeah, I just use Interact because isn't that the youth version? The youth clubs. See, and what I see happening with the Interact clubs is, first of all, they're not in every school, and even when they are in a school, I've seen that other kids don't even know, even within a school, let alone at a citywide level, they're pretty invisible, and even a school right next door, I just doesn't know about them. So that's my thought is if Rotary wants to grow and be more relevant to this generation, it has to look at different ways of connecting with them.
Well, I think, this is Darla, everybody. I think there's, Michaela, thank you again so much. Just to share with you the benefit of being a Rotarian and being connected in this format, too. I'm a former middle school, high school principal,
Wow.
curriculum and supervision as a secondary master's. And I was the United Way director, executive director of the Hawaii Island United Way, and now I'm the executive director at Yavapai County United Way. That's Sedona and Prescott, Arizona. The benefit I see is that one of our big things is having to do with volunteering, volunteerism. And we, as a United Way, are looking for a platform in which to engage not only young people and connect them, but people of any age. And I think, again, this is a terrific venue, a platform where we can really bring the two together and merge the two together. In almost any large community and small community, well, Prescott has I don't know, it's a city of about 45,000, and they have 4 different Rotary clubs. And we've got 4 colleges in the community, much less the high schools. And a lot of these college students have to be connected to having service projects. And of course, like most of us, we wait to the last minute to sign up for any of these kinds of opportunities. But this may be a way to engage them initially. Right when they come in, they're provided with all the different ideas and opportunities. This would be one that could really filtrate and open up opportunities worldwide, not just in your community, which is important, but also from a worldwide perspective. So I'm thrilled. This is terrific. This is a great idea. If you need a test place, let me know.
Okay. And where would you say? And tell me the name of the town again, because I couldn't quite catch it.
It's in Prescott, Arizona.
Oh, Prescott.
PRE.
Okay. Yeah.
Prescott,
Okay.
Near the Sedona area. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're in the neighborhood. Well, it's not. It's a day's drive.
Yeah, I will be soon.
Let me just say that Andrea Lowe, who's our vice president, actually has founded a crowdfunding site called Piggybacker, and it's designed specifically for youth. So, Gretchen, maybe you'd like to add some of your comments now, kind of from the social venturing perspective.
Yeah, it was making me think of something that we had talked about a while ago, which was the idea of having young people be part of this Rotary Club, and what that can do, I think, for our particular club, but also for the Rotary movement overall. And yeah, I mean, I definitely would love for us to get to the point of us taking on some exciting projects that could be social change. And obviously, this is the work that my work is all about as well. So I'd love for us to revisit the idea of having, teenagers, or I forget the minimum age. I think it's 16 or so, but having youngish people be part of this group.
Well, the thing you could probably do is have this club sponsor an Interact club. And Interact globally would be amazing. Of course, you have thousands and thousands of members of the club. They're a little hard to deal with, but it's a great place to go.
Yeah, but my experience working. Oh, say that again. I'm sorry. Can you repeat the
Go ahead,
last sentence?
Michaela.
Oh, okay. My experience with teenagers and working with web-based platforms is that I think what really works for kids is something that's more local and regional.
Yeah.
That for example, one school we worked with had a big football rivalry. So we were working with Overland. They had a big football rivalry with East. And that was all they cared about was East High, because they had all this, and they challenged them. We ran out of time, so they weren't able to fully implement it. But they challenged East to see who could reduce their garbage footprint the most, and they wanted to integrate it with their football rivalry. And so I find sometimes with kids it's easier to motivate them when something is like closer to home, whereas if they were connecting with not that isn't valuable, and there's some kids can relate to it, but if they were connecting to a high school in far away or another country, sometimes it's harder for them to relate to than the high school next door that they see every week. So I don't know, my vision for how to go about this would be to do some small experiments, maybe in Prescott, maybe in Denver. And, somebody talking? And
We might be getting some interference again. Is there anything you can do to clarify the signal?
Is that to me? I couldn't hear them. Who is that directed to, Kat?
There's a little static.
It seems that we're getting some outside interference. Is there anything to clarify the signal, Ian?
Not that I know of. We're hearing and seeing everybody just fine here.
Okay.
I think it's settled down, Kat.
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. Great. Go ahead.
So anyway, what interests me right now is to sort of jump in and do some small experiments. And again, this group of people that I'm working with, they have a lot of stuff in motion, and they're planning some big stuff for this summer. And there could be a way to to piggyback on a momentum that's already happening and try some things out.
Great.
One comment I'd like to make real quick. One thing I've noticed, I think a roadblock that might come about, but it's at the same time a positive as it is a negative, is what I see across the board with service projects, and especially in the tech world, is a very big you see, like you said, specifically with the social aspect of things, it's happening in little cities, and it's only limited to these little geographic areas. And that's true across the board with the tech world, especially here in Hawaii and other places, I'm sure. And so I think a key element to the success of something like that is how you can bring it together, because I'm sure the service project that you're talking about, when you see one, there's probably 10 or 20 of the same ones spread throughout. And could you imagine if you brought all of those same people together to work on the project in unison, how much more traction it could actually get? I think that would be a good feat if you were able to accomplish that in some way, shape, or form, where you're able to say, okay, this person over here in New York is building this service project that is the exact same service project as is DC and Hawaii and here, and let's bring these two together, or these four groups together to elaborate on this peace project. If it's not just a regional project alone, if it's more, national or global.
Yeah, and allow them to, not only meet people of similar interests, but to build on each other's projects.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of challenges there, I think, but I think there's equally even more potential for something pretty cool.
Well, Michaela, the thing about our eClub is that our members come from all over. They're connected with local Rotary clubs, many of them. So I could see the eClub serving a good purpose. That is, the Rotarian from a specific location can work with the Rotary clubs in that area and spread this idea about localized service projects. But if we had a number of members doing the same thing, those people working on similar projects come together through our eClub or through the website, whatever your vision is, to share their experience. So that could be something we can do, is to spread that information to localities that would enhance their service projects. Not that it's an end-all service project, but it's an enhancement of what they're already doing. So that's one unique thing about the eClub that doesn't exist today. Today, you have to be a local Rotary club, sponsor an Interact club, go and do a service project, and have this relationship. The eClub expands that to many different communities sharing. So I could see your concept really going global if we have 100 members all and they like this idea, went out and organized.
But the part that confuses me, and this is the part where I don't totally understand how Rotary works, is, so if we want to do a pilot, does it make more sense for me to be involved with the Denver Boulder clubs? Because we did meet with some of the key players there. Does that make more sense as a path for creating a pilot?
Well, both. I mean, both.
Yeah.
Albeit, you could do both, Michaela. When I'm in Hilo, I come to the Hilo meetings. When I go to Prescott, I attend the weekly meetings in Prescott. But I think this venue keeps me connected all the time with Steve and Ian and locally and some of the different local things occurring, but also with all of you to see what you're all doing. And again, like Steve was sharing, the opportunity to talk about, discuss, and share and generate ideas, and it's invaluable. So both.
Yeah, absolutely. And, right alongside that point, Steve made the point that we're involved with multiple Interact clubs and whatnot here, and if we had boots on the ground in these other areas, for example, you were still part of this club every once in a while coming back, checking in here, but still boots on the ground at that main Rotary club, the physical club there, you would be able to come back and report to us and say, hey, yeah, here's the service projects that are really cool in our area that we're working on. We're able to then go back to our local Rotary clubs and say, yeah, okay, here's the service projects we're working on. Which ones make sense to maybe join our forces and bring those on board? I think that's just from like a pilot campaign could be a good way to go to get that facilitated and get that kind of get a little traction there as well. Eventually, I mean, it seems like you're thinking the long-term goal would have like maybe a website that's a big hub for all the projects to be where you could search that database, like you said, and see what's happening, where it's happening, and see how people can link up that way as well. But from a initial pilot standpoint, that would be a good way to do it, where you're part of both clubs.
So cool.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, the opportunity to share, like we were saying, is invaluable.
And Michaela, I think you know some of the Rotarians in Denver. I can introduce you to them. But a membership in this club or any club gives you access to any club. That is, you don't need an invitation as you normally would be if you're a stranger. Uh, because once you're a Rotarian, you have free access to any club. So I would suggest being connected with the local groups and with the added uh, connectivity of an e-group, be able to carry a wider area with you. But I agree that for your project, and especially starting out, you may want more local Rotarians involved in helping. But we could support them. You know, I know a lot of people in the Denver clubs, and you could make a presentation at the clubs, and the fact that you're a member of this club would enhance your status with that club. It's not just a stranger coming up with a project. It's a Rotarian who's trying to connect with other Rotarians in different parts of the world. So that would be very attractive to give you a forum for explaining your idea to local Rotarians. So that's another way that it's advantageous. Yeah.
A quick side question: is that your next steps with this? Is to try to develop some sort of pilot in a specific regional area?
Well, yes. So what the people that we're working with are trying to develop something that goes beyond just service projects. So it would include a lot of things in the arts, a lot of things in the sciences, and service would be one of the tracks. So I'm just personally, right now, I'm just kind of, I don't know if I should say this, but just trying to put a lot of things out and see
Yeah.
which ones that, get some traction. So, I know that, there's some people who are very interested in something that would just focus on environmentally oriented project and ecopreneurship. So we're working with some people on that. So it's a vague answer, but
Yeah.
right now we're just trying to see which one gains the most traction.
No, I
Because
think that's a good way to go.
because they're big endeavors. They take at some point they do require some funding, and they also require just a network of committed people to make it happen.
Absolutely. Kind of like our eClub at this point.
That's what makes it exciting.
Yeah.
Galina, do you have any questions or comments for Michaela?
Well, first of all, it was a great presentation. Thank you, very interesting. I can only share a little bit of my knowledge, experience with my club back in St. Petersburg, Russia. We had Rotaract, the organization of the young people who were actively involved in our projects and were also advertising, so to say, Rotary ideas to their contemporaries, going to schools, talking about their projects. And also one of our members was the principal of a private school. And through Rotary, they had very wide network of connections with other young people, schools and, Rotary, Rotaract and Interact organizations all around the world. That's I think it was very useful, that for the kids in this private school that their principal was Rotary member. So they, it was a great advantage actually. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
John, do you have anything more you'd like to ask of Michaela? John, I'm not sure we're hearing you.
Okay. I think what you need to decide is which way you want to go. I don't think you can do everything. I think at the local level you can be very active, and you can use this club to give you ideas from the outside. But as I said, if you have members of this club each with a city, we're talking about thousands of people, which is a little hard to deal with at one time. So I think that you may find that working locally and then getting ideas and cross feeds from the rest of us around the world will probably be better than trying to do both at the same time.
Wise words. Thank you, John and
Yeah.
Steve. Your elderness is greatly appreciated. Michaela, anything more?
I think that's it. There's a lot of meetings coming up in the next couple of weeks, and so I'll just keep everybody posted as things unfold. Maybe I'll reconnect with some of the Denver folks because I had sort of gotten out of contact with them, so maybe I'll do that. See where it goes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed exploring this idea of innovative education, and certainly the call is out among many of our teenagers that they're looking for what's next. And if we can support you in clarifying that vision, we'll look forward to that. Okay. Shall we turn now to Rotary business? Is that good, everyone? Okay. So Michaela, I am happy to report that I spent the weekend in San Jose, California, where Laura Steelquist, John's wife, was a star. We are Rotary eClub of District 5,000 of Hawaii. I think that's like our long name. So we are a part of District 5,000, which is the clubs in Hawaii, and we rocked. We had the best hospitality suite. We had the best cocktails. We had the funniest comments by a district governor. We laid everyone Sunday morning as they came up for the final meeting, or actually Saturday night, so everyone got a lay. So everyone was colorful and decked out with Hawaiian regalia. We gave away tons of swag, so everyone loved the Hawaiian suite. So that's the fun part. The business part is I was in 7 different workshops and have lots of information that after TED conference, which is starting Friday, so all next week I'll be in TED. After that, I hope to type those up and present those to you all so you'll have a better sense of what happened there. A couple of conclusions that are important are that Hawaiian members are very interested in our success, and they really would like to support us in getting to our 25 members by April 1st so that we can indeed be chartered. So our original plan is for each member to invite another person that you'd like to be in the Rotary Club with you. So if that's working for you, that's fabulous. If it isn't, let's talk about it, but let's definitely develop a strategy. Okay? So that's one thing, is memberships by April 1st, let's try to get to 25. The second is website, and you'll love my evolution in thinking on this. You know that I've been very eager that we create something original, innovative, cool, so that it would attract members who are savvy about tech, especially younger members. But what I realized this weekend is that there are many levels of reporting that Rotary requires, and I think you warned us about that, and it was confirmed this weekend. And so I think that your original idea about going to the site that everyone uses is probably wisest. Are you happy with that conclusion? Ian?
I think whatever is going to serve us the best. Gotta.
I've lost sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those decisions at this point and just discuss them and see which is the best option for us at this point. But I'm not.
Hey, Ian, we're only catching about every third word. So if you would please repeat what you just said.
Can you hear me okay now if I am a little closer to the mic?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, I just said that I'm not opposed to anything at this stage. We just want to make sure we're looking at the pros and cons of
Yes.
each and making the decision of what's going to work best.
Hi, I can't talk right now. I'll call you back in 15 minutes. Okay? Thank you.
Nat, this is Steve.
Yes.
I think the technical aspects of what website to use and this GoToMeeting link that we're using now, those need to be discussed among the officers. And I'm thinking that next week, if we can have a meeting, same time, for those interested in joining to talk about the technical aspects of and the administration of this. And I'd like John to join us.
Sure, I'll be back.
Next, yeah, because they're asking whether we're, and I want to make sure that John is comfortable with decisions. Maybe by then we can take a look at the bylaws and talk about that next week. Would that be okay?
That's good for me. Yeah?
That's good for me.
And the officers are invited particularly, but everyone is invited to join us because we've got quite a list of things that we need done, and we need volunteers. So we can talk about that. We'll send out as to the type of jobs that are available, and if somebody would volunteer for helping us.
We're talking Tuesday, same time.
Same time Tuesday. Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah.
We'll have another meeting, and I think Ian has come up with a solution for this link. It'll be the same link and the same phone number every meeting. So we'll in the future be sending you just the notice of the time that we're going to have a meeting and the agenda, but you go to the same link and the same phone number to join the meeting. So that will make it a lot easier to notify everybody, not having to send you a different link in each time.
Okay.
Thanks, Ian, for setting that up.
Yeah, that's really a good thing.
Fantastic. Okay, so for members, it's important that you fill out the member application if you haven't, and please send that to Lisa. If you need her email, I can put it on the Facebook page, or I can have her send to everyone the membership application again. Should we do that, Steve?
Can we put the membership application on the Facebook group? I think we can add a PDF to that, right?
That would be a great idea.
Yeah, so if you want to just email me that, or you want to do it too, I think you have capabilities. I can easily add it to the Facebook group page. And just kind of an FYI, if nobody is yet a member of that Facebook group, then by all means reach out to us and we'll get you access. I have Darla's email address. I'm going to make sure she gets access to that Facebook group at this point. But anyone else, please let us know.
And the Facebook
You
is
know, I think it's already there, Ian. It's listed as We Rotary Charter Members version 1. So it's already on the We Rotary Facebook page under files.
Great, excellent.
So if you all could fill that out, that would be great. Steve,
I
is
have
there
a
something? Go ahead,
question.
Galina.
Yeah, so I've already sent my application. I guess I don't have to resend it, correct?
Yes, we have yours already.
And I have a question about the membership dues. Is any information about that? How do we do that? Or should we talk about it next Tuesday?
Thank you, Galina, for bringing that up. Generally speaking, from my experience with chatting with everyone this past weekend, it sounds like $100 initiation fee and a $20 a month fee is very reasonable and very much in line. Would you agree with that, John?
Yes, that's fine. But many clubs are much more than that. But I think keeping it down to the lower level is good for membership and makes people happy too. $100, and then something else for the year is fine.
Steve, is there anything more you wanted to say about membership dues?
No, we're not ready to accept them yet. That'll come next week. We need to get a EIS and open a bank account, and so we'll discuss that. But I think in the next few weeks we should be ready with a bank account.
Great. Gretchen, are those dues something that you could afford to pay? Is there any problem with that for you? Gretchen, are you still there? Okay. Well,
yeah, Gretchen's not on anymore. Sorry.
okay, thanks. All right, great. Let's see, what other things to share with you? So our officers so far are Steve Yoshida is the treasurer. I am the president. Lisa is the secretary. And thanks, Galina, for being the sergeant at arms. So it sounded to me like what I saw this weekend was that the sergeant at arms generally are responsible for making sure the logistics of the meeting are managed properly. Is that correct, John?
Yep. Sergeant of Arms are the president's right-hand person to make sure that the meeting runs smoothly.
So I was wondering, Galina, would you be comfortable with taking on the task of just reminding everyone about the meeting by putting a post on Facebook and who the speaker will be? So generally, I was thinking that the second and fourth Tuesdays, we would have speakers, and the rest of the times, the first and third Tuesdays, we would have a TED Talk. Generally speaking, available for most of the members who were not involved in the executive business of the club. It sounded like that was very much an interesting perspective for people who were asking us about the eClub. Is that good with the rest of you? Darla, Michaela?
So the first and third Tuesday, what was that?
Steve will have an action meeting.
Yes.
And the other week.
I love it. That works.
So, Kat, this is Steve.
Yes.
As to the TED Talk, is there a follow-up discussion, or what happens? We just view it, and is there?
Yeah, we should probably discuss that. So many people this weekend were looking at e-Rotary as a way of making up meetings. And I have been doing some preliminary research on other e-clubs, and it looks like some of them actually collect dues based on what they would normally be paying at their normal, real Rotary Club, and then those dues would become some way of funding our club. So we should decide what it is that actually qualifies for them attending one of our e-Rotary meetings. It's easy when we have go-to meeting because we actually see them. But what is it that would qualify them when they're watching a TED Talk? One thing that might work is for them to engage in a conversation on our website once it's up, and perhaps on Facebook in the interim, or on TED itself. If we did it where they comment it on TED itself, then that engages them in a larger global conversation, which I think ultimately it could be of interest to we Rotarians, because the more involved we get in those conversations, our level of innovative thinking increases, and our connection with those innovators themselves also becomes more real. Thoughts?
Kat, if I could respond, the makeup meetings should be Rotary related, of course, so that the TED Talk has to relate to something Rotarian, and that could be done by asking us, are you interested in a project like this? Does your club work in doing these things? Would you recommend participating in something that the speaker spoke about? In other words, how to tie in Rotary with that topic. But somebody will have to come up with those questions, and somebody will have to collect them and see where we go from there. So it's open for further discussion, but I think the main point is it just can't be a TED Talk. It needs to be some connection with Rotary. Otherwise, it won't serve as a makeup.
Okay, so then would we require in their comments that they identify as a Rotarian, and then that they relate that talk in some way to projects that their club is working on? Or what's your idea, Steve?
Yeah, I would think so. You know, it's like having an inspiring movie. You know, they can go and they can watch it and get a makeup. I don't think that'd be acceptable. They'd have to be involved somehow in how to apply the particular topic of the talk to Rotary. And I don't know how exactly we do that, but we need to think about that.
Great. All right. So you can see we're just forming. We've got lots of questions still on the table. John, any final comments from you before we close out the meeting?
Well, I think I agree with Steve that you need to make sure what you do is as a Rotary Club. And so you may not want to open it for so many people attending your makeups that they can't participate. Now, you could have them email in and go, and you could edit that kind of stuff, but suddenly that means a lot of work for the club. So I think there's more talking to be done on this. You want to have participation, but it should also be manageable. So, and it's got to stay fun. If it gets too much work for anybody, we're not having fun.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, John. All right, Michaela, thank you so much. We're so grateful for your ideas, and look forward to hearing more about how your project is evolving. I feel like you've planted a seed, and we don't really know where it's going to go yet, but for sure the leverage that the 34,000 Rotary clubs offers could be very interesting for all of us, as whatever passionate ideas we have, we take out there. Steve, any final things from you?
Looking forward to next week. It's going to be really the formation of our club that we discuss next week. And after next week,
No sound, I'm afraid.
Yeah, we lost
Okay.
Steve. Yeah.
All right.
Lost the sound.
Steve, we lost just that last sentence of yours. Could you repeat it, please?
Well, I'm looking forward to next week, and we'll really get some things done and take off as a club.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you. Nice meeting everyone.
Okay.
Good meeting you.
Aloha.
Bye-bye.